Hey, it's Greg Bennett. Welcome to the UglyPond podcast. Just a casual conversation I intend to have on some of the really critical areas that I've been able to discover that have helped to bring about major transformation in my life. And hopefully they can do the same for you. If you want to read up about my background, my history and the history of the Ugly Pond, etc., you can do it on the website. I'm not going to spend time on that now. I just want to get right into the meat, and that's what I'm going to do in these very casual conversations. This first episode is about the first story that I wrote, first of 10, and it's called Scared Shitless and a Welded Car Door. How crippling call reluctance, which is what I had early in my career, helped me develop this conquest mindset. And you can read the whole article on Substack. But I wanted to sort of talk through some of the elements of it. Basically, in a nutshell, I was really scared shitless when I was a new salesperson. I didn't like sales that much. I was intimidated by it. There was so much rejection. I was selling an unknown small country radio station in Washington, D.C., and I was just petrified. I would go into places, you get rejected, you get just all the normal crap that salespeople have to put up with. And it just really was destroying me because I was going nowhere in this young career. And I just realized I've got to do something. So I thought, well, maybe I would look at the struggles that I'm having. Walking in, getting rejection, people telling you to get the hell out, whatever they do. And I thought, well, that's not that big a deal, Greg. What are you making this into more than it is? And that only made it worse because this inner voice inside of me would say, see, this isn't a big deal. You were such a wuss. Just go do it. You're such a loser. You know, that negative inner voice we have is our greatest enemy. And we'll talk more about that coming up. But man, it was brutal. I couldn't do anything. I just felt so low. And if you feel that low and intimidated, you're not going to do very well in selling something. So I decided I'll just make this a little thing. Just get over it, right? And that just didn't work because that negative voice kicked in and just killed me. So I thought, well, let's do the opposite. I thought I'd do a George Costanza, right? I'm going to do everything opposite that I've ever done, Jerry, in my life. And I just decided I'm going to make it a big thing. I'm going to make this struggle that I have sitting in this car, in this parking lot, unable to open the car door because it feels welded shut. And I'm going to be the opposite. I'm going to absolutely look at this as a monumental struggle, a huge thing to overcome. It would be like me storming the beaches in a war, or it could be me, I'm in a major battle, or whatever. I would work myself into this thought that this is an epic quest. This is a magnificent quest, Greg, that you are overcoming. And it seems kind of silly, perhaps delusional to you, but when I did that, everything changed. Because to me, I started to realize that was life or death. Yes, it was very small. It isn't going to have a huge impact on the world if Greg Bennett can get out of his car and go talk to somebody about a small country radio station in Washington, D.C. It's not going to change the world, but it would change my world. And man, that hit me like a thunderbolt. And perhaps it could for you too. If we, instead of looking at the problems and the challenges we have and belittling them and almost beating up ourselves more because we can't solve this when everybody else can solve it, what if we look at every challenge we have and just say, okay, this is an epic quest. This is something glorious to overcome. I'm going to go to battle on this thing, and it is going to be huge. This is a huge fight. Because a couple things happened when I started to do that. Number one, I gave myself a major break because I'm saying, no, it's not a small thing. This is a big thing. This is a scary thing. This is a really intimidating thing, but you're going to overcome it. I made it big. I made it into something huge. It became an epic struggle. And imagine if we just looked at every challenge we had in our life. And not just professionally. You could be, just with your kids. And I'm struggling to talk to my teen about this or that. Or I can't talk to my coworker who happens to be real passive aggressive. I'm scared to death of it. I don't want to have that conversation. Or, I work in construction and I've got this pain in the ass client who I know it's going to be an ugly call and I'm just scared to do it. I don't want to do it. Build it into something huge and say, no, dude, this is your chance to do something magnificent in life. This is huge. This is what you were born to do. And again, and maybe it is. I'm not a psychiatrist, but maybe it is pure delusion. It just happened to work for me, and maybe it will for you too. Look at each, whatever challenge it is, and just say, can I turn this into something big? Because it is a big deal that I beat it. It is. It's a big deal for me. It's a big deal for my company. Maybe it's a big deal for my family. Maybe it's a big deal for my department. It is a big deal. So Greg, it started to create a new Greg, right? This much more important, bold, someone that is going to conquer this, not this belittled wuss that is sitting in the car, unable to get out and go talk to somebody. This is an epic quest, man. And a couple things that happen in addition to that is that not only did it make me feel much stronger, more bulletproof when I got out of the car and would go in, but it impacted the way that I arrived, the way that I would show up. I showed up with confidence. And one of the skill sets that I developed from this, and this is something that I've taught my kids over the years and taught thousands of salespeople, instead of, slinking into it, run into it, go hard into it. I would charge into those stores. And instead of sort of slinking in and, like almost in a fetal position, not wanting to get killed, I was just hoping I could talk to the owner, and you're just sort of teeing yourself up to get killed. Go in with full force and say, yes, need to speak to the owner, please. Or whatever I would say. I just walk in with an absolute attitude, like I'm ready for battle. It's not going to be, a fight, but I'm certainly not slinking away. And the next thing that came with that is a lot of confidence about what it is that I was selling. And this led to, and all these stories are going to kind of build on themselves as we go along, but it led to me also looking at what I am providing as being almost at the life-saving level. What I'm doing is monumental. Me coming in to talk with you about working with us is a big deal. It's not a small deal. I don't care if I'm from a small radio station. This is a big deal. I believe it's a big deal, and I need to talk to you because I believe I can make a big impact for you. And so this led to a third thing, and that is if I walk in with an attitude that it's just about me winning, I need to go kill this guy. I need to go push this and kill this customer by selling to them. It was more about, I need to go save this guy. I turned myself into someone that was in the life-saving business instead of just the radio sales business, you see. And you could do the same thing in your life. Let's say you're a manager and you have to go have a tough conversation with an employee. And you first say, okay, this is a monumental, huge thing that we can overcome, that we're going to attack. And we're going to attack with confidence. And we're going to go in with this mindset that this conversation is about helping to improve that person's life first and foremost. I need to have a very direct conversation with her about some of the conversations she's been having, but I'm coming at it from a place that is going to change and improve her life once we get through this. Once we get through what could be a struggle or an uncomfortable bit, it's all because I'm here to improve that person's life. And those things were like huge lessons for me to learn right there in that car. And they really fueled the next 35 years of my career. And it could do the same for you. So start with that mindset, okay, with this first story. Read it and you can get whatever you can out of it. But mainly I want you to think about turn your challenges, big or small, into something epic. This could be your conquest story. Look for something that it would be great. I could look at every challenge I have, whatever it is, and I can turn that into something that is monumental, that builds me up to go have that. And then Secondly, I'm going to go in with a whole different attitude because of that. And the third thing is that I'm there for the right reasons. I'm bringing all this battle to the battlefront for the right reasons. The right reason is that I need to be able to get into that store to go talk to that person because I can improve his or her life, perhaps, with what I have to offer. But if my mindset is, I got to get in there because I got to make a sale or I'm going to get fired, that's not really a great battle to have. It could maybe work on one level, but these things have to work together. If you truly want to be an exceptional seller, you truly want to be an exceptional boss, a partner, a friend, a colleague, you need to be willing to go to battle, but to do it with the right priorities in place. I need to have this awkward conversation with my teenager or my partner or someone in our community. I need to have that. And I'm doing it out of the intentions to help improve their life if at all possible. And I'm willing to go into that battle. I'm willing to face this rejection. I'm willing to sit down and say, we need to have a tough conversation. That's what the UglyPond is all about. I'm willing to go into the UglyPond with this opportunity that I'm trying to close. By going to the UglyPond, I'm going to take them to know. I'm going to shove them in there. We're going to have it out. You need to tell me what you don't like about me. You need to feel comfortable doing it because the reason I need to hear that is the only way I can possibly help to improve your life, is we need to go through that. So these things work together, and I want to start at this place. So maybe some things for you to think about are, think about the things that are self-limitations that you put on yourself. What are some things that are holding you back, or what is that negative inner voice whispering to you? And you realize we talk to ourselves in a way that we would never talk to anybody else. We are horrific the way that we talk to ourselves. You're such a loser. Man, you're terrible at this. You suck at this. I mean, we actually say things like that to ourselves. And when we do that, it makes it very tough to rise above that because you listen to that long enough and you start to believe that I can't do anything. And then you do slink into conversations. And I've spent a lot of time training and coaching professional sports teams and collegiate teams. And one thing that I learned, and from playing sports myself, but one of the fundamental things you learn if you're going to be in sports, and it applies to a lot of areas of life, but particularly sports, is you have to go into that game with the idea that I'm going to play with controlled, reckless abandon, if that makes sense. I'm going to play with reckless abandon. I cannot go into play to not get hurt. If you slink into a game as a middle linebacker and say, okay, I'm going to try and I'm going to try and stop this play. I'm going to stop up the line, or I'm going to take out that tailback or whatever I'm doing. If hopefully I won't get hurt, and I'm going to sit back here and try to avoid the heavy contact, you're going to get crushed, right? You've got to go and play with reckless abandon. And unfortunately, a lot of people in sales or in life facing conflict, trying to overcome a problem, we play to not get hurt. I don't want to get hurt. And so I slink in. I almost apologize. Look, I really don't want to bother you, but I was wondering if I could just take a couple minutes of your time. I just want to talk to you about my radio station. Please don't throw me out. Please don't kill me. Please don't. Right? That's how we approach, versus bursting in and say, I need to talk to someone about how I could improve your business. This is what I do. I'm from so-and-so, but this is how I arrive. And I would teach my kids, if you have to do a really dirty task, we would call it speed cleaning. I'd be like, you don't want to clean. I get it. I need you to clean your room. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the ugliest thing we know, which is to get up and clean. But we're going to do it with an absolute, like a zest. That's going to be our epic quest. We are going to overcome our hate of cleaning the room. And man, we're going to be unbelievable when we get done with this. And we're going to do it by speed cleaning. We're going to do it as fast as we can. We're going to do it as hard as we can. And we're going to laugh as we do it. So I would find myself cleaning a room very quickly with them, and we'd laugh about it and joke about it and see how fast we can get it done, right? And I applied the same thing to sales. Instead of, slinking into a business, I would run in. My hair's on fire, right? And I'm not here just to sell radio. I'm here to figure out if I can improve your life. I want to come and talk to you about how I can improve your life. Because this will lead to something a little bit later on in one of the upcoming stories that I tell, is that I don't think most salespeople that call on me really believe in their product. I don't think they do. I think they're there just to sell me. And if they don't get an immediate me welcoming them, they run away. I mean, think about it. If you were really a believer in what it is that you sell, that you can improve the life of somebody else, if you really believe that, why do you make one call and drop one email? Why do you do that? Right? Why would you do that? If you really believe, wouldn't you go to my door? Wouldn't you show up and say, look, you're not talking to me. You're hanging up on me. I have to tell you about this. I need to see you. I believe I can really help you. I would say maybe 1% of salespeople in the world have that. And that's really sad. And it should be the same thing if you're a manager or you're an individual, you're a sibling, right? I'm willing to sit down and have this conversation. I'm willing to have it out because I so believe that there's ways that we can improve each other's life. That's why I want to talk to you. I don't want to just talk to you because I want to be right, because I want to have the upper hand. I'm willing to go into this battle. So let's make them epic battles. Make what you do. Make this challenge that you have to face. And again, it could be personal. It could be like, I work, doing whatever, and it's not particularly super exciting what I do every single day on this assembly line. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make me conquering this assembly line like a major quest. It's going to be me as a Viking storming new lands. It's going to be me in a rocket ship landing out. That's what it's going to be. Now, you may look at me like, you're crazy, Greg. Well, that's good. Okay, but whatever. This is what works for me. This is what gets me up in the morning and say, how can I do this in a way that I do it where people look at me and go, what in the name of God are you on? What are you taking there, dude? Because I don't know, maybe I want some of it. Again, I could be slightly delusional. I don't throw that out as a potential, but I wanted to share that with you on this very first conversation. And I'm gonna go through this on a weekly basis, I think, and just sort of have conversations and share some stories. And we're going to unpack these 10. And the next story is going to be how I went out into the world after I had this conquest mindset that just made me on fire. I'll tell you a quick story. When I was in that radio station, I was known as somebody that could just sit down and make 50 cold calls. Because again, I looked at it as the greatest challenge. And I did it standing up, laughing, getting blown up. And people would come around and watch me because that's not normal. But I did it. I would laugh about it. And so after I learned that lesson, and this is when I started to move into one to think about coaching and training, is that I thought I had a formula for how I could do that. And that was the first one. Make this a conquest. Make this the greatest conquest you've ever had, is to solve this issue today. It keeps me focused on that day alone. This call alone. This is the hill we're going to storm, and we're going to do it, right? But then it starts to lead to, okay, I got to find a sales strategy and concept that goes with that. Because the typical ones don't. The typical ones are kind of counter to that. They're just about how to get super excited about your product. I don't want to get super excited about my product. I don't want to get, enamored with the bells and the whistles we have. No, that's fine. But the bigger story is, how can I get enamored by fixing and improving the life of who I'm going to talk to? That's what I need to get really jacked up about and excited. And I was looking for a sales process that would do that. And I'll tell you that story next. So if you like it, appreciate if you, whatever you do on these things, to like them, to follow them. I'm really not looking to sell anything. I'm just looking to get this off my mind. It's the last thing I probably do in my career. But I'd love if you follow me, tell other folks about it. If you love to, hop in the UglyPond. And good luck.